Welcome everyone to part two of the NCAA March Madness Cougs Talk. I'm your host Sean Paul, here with Andrew, here with Elisha, and the women's after a very uneventful first round with a whole bunch of blowouts. Duke versus Lael, UConn versus
Arkansas State. That was a big one too.
Yeah. I mean, things are starting to kick up second gear. So let's get into it. But first off, we have to address the elephant in the room. Juju Watkins' unfortunate injury for USC, where she went down in a non-contact play. It has been confirmed that she has tore her ACL. So how does this deeply affect USC's title run?
I think this affects them so much. I think anyone that watches women's basketball knows USC offense runs around Juju Watkins. And yeah, in that lost game, Kiki Ariafin stepped up and so did Marshall. But I think when they get into those Elite Eight Final Four games, Juju Watkins is their offense in those big games. And I think without her, I think they might take an earlier exit than most people thought. But again, Juju's one of those players that this injury, she's gonna come back from it and be better than ever. We've seen in the past couple years with Paige Beckers, Olivia Miles, players of that caliber. Even with injuries like this, they'll come back and just be just as good, if not better than they were before.
I mean, yeah, you hit everything on the coffin. I mean, Juju is the heartbeat of the USC team. I think maybe they can get past Kansas State. We'll just have to see. I know they have a decent roster, but maybe not much further than that, just because she's obviously the leader of this team. So.
Yeah, so we're praying Juju gets has a full recovery, and she'll come back better and stronger. And speaking of another star, how about Paige Buchers? 50, 40, 90?
Yeah, man. I've been watching, I'm a UConn fan. I've been watching them all season. I think the game against South Dakota State, she dropped 34 points in her last game at Gamble Pavilion, tied a career high. I think UConn right now, how they're playing, to me, they're the championship team. They're championship contenders. That whole offense, Paige Beckers, AZ Flood, Sarah Strong, just is doing everything right now. So I think the only thing stopping them is themselves, honestly.
I mean, Paige Beckers is one of the best, if not the best, women's college basketball player in the country. Coming off a couple injuries, she's coming back determined. She's trying to get a ring before she obviously is out leaving UConn and heading towards the WNBA draft. There are some other teams in the tournament still that have lots of championship experience. South Carolina, they might have to face them after coming off a chip last year. LSU's got a good squad. NC State, but UConn has proven their dominance for years and years, and they've made themselves arguably a dynasty. And I think Paige is at the forefront of that.
Okay, so like the men's tournament, who are the pretenders and the contenders?
Unfortunately now, I would have to say that USC is a pretender only due to the Juju Watkins injury. I'm not sure, too, how far LSU gets. Obviously, LSU's roster with previous years has been super hyped up. They had Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, now that she's gone from LSU. I would see them as a pretender. I think that's pretty much it, honestly, that I have, just LSU and USC.
For me, I think the biggest pretender out of everyone right now is Duke. I think they just haven't really played that well, I think, against tougher opponents. That Oregon State game, I don't really know what they were doing for much of that game. They weren't playing great at all, and I think they can beat North Carolina, but I don't think they're making it to the championship, because after that they'll probably have to play South Carolina. I would say Texas. I think Texas has been a pretender all season. I don't think they've been that great. I know they were number one in the rankings for a little bit, but I think if Madison Booker isn't going, that Texas offense doesn't really have a lot for them, just a lot going on. And then, I'd have to say USC again. I don't feel bad putting them in this category, but I only had them going to the Elite Eight if Juju was healthy. And now without Juju, I don't really know how it's going to be for them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate USC, but it's tough. But honestly, I had them falling the Elite Eight. I just feel like this ceiling, if Juju isn't going, because like he said, this offense revolves around her, and if she ain't clicking, this whole offense isn't going to click. So unfortunately, even if she wasn't injured, I unfortunately had them going out in the Elite Eight. So now the matchups. UCLA versus Ole Miss.
I think this is going to be a tough one. I mean, I have UCLA winning, but this Ole Miss team is just like dogs, man. They're just a great like group of players. Coach Yo just like knows how to coach this group. But I think it's going to be a dogfight. But I think UCLA is going to come out on top.
Okay.
I'm also taking UCLA. I mean, 32-2, unstoppable right now.
South Carolina versus Maryland.
Yeah, go ahead.
South Carolina's going to steamroll Maryland. I'm not going to lie. Like, that last game, I think Maryland, they got lucky to win that. I don't know if any of you guys watched that Maryland-Alabama game. It was double overtime. I was on the edge of my seat watching that game, but I don't think they have enough to get over the South Carolina team at all.
South Carolina won last year, and I think they're going to continue their dominance for sure.
Okay. LSU versus North Carolina State.
I think this might be the game of the Sweet 16. I think LSU is coming off a really good second half against Florida State. They can keep playing like how they played in that game. It's going to be a tough night for NC State, but I think NC State can take the win. I have them winning this matchup.
I think LSU still has enough experience on their roster, and they played really good against Florida State last round, so I got LSU winning for sure.
Okay, we got a rivalry game. North Carolina versus Duke.
Again, I said I think Duke is a pretender, but I don't think they're that big of a pretender. I think they can get the W against North Carolina.
Duke is on a 5-game winning streak heading into this game, so I'm going to go ahead and roll with Duke.
Okay. USC versus Kansas State. Now, this could be a bit iffy.
This one, I'm not sure. I mean, I had Kentucky beating Kansas State, which, anyways, I don't even want to talk about that. But this Kansas State team, I think they have a lot of experience. They have a big post presence, but so does this USC team. I still have USC winning, but I could see it going either way just because, we don't have any more Juju, and I don't even know how to feel.
I think with the absence of Juju Watkins, I think that the team is going to rally around her and play for her and give them that extra motivation. And so I'm going to roll with USC against Kansas State.
Yeah, I think I may roll with Kansas State. I mean, like you said, they're deep, they're experienced, and USC, I just don't know how to feel about my odds anymore. So I go with Kansas State on this one. Okay, Oklahoma versus UConn.
For this matchup, I think Oklahoma have a good post presence, but I think UConn's just like God play right now is just like next level. I think, especially with UConn's small lineup, the way that they play just overall is just really great. I mean, they have Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong, one of the the best three-headed monsters in women's college basketball right now. I have UConn taking it.
UConn's got the best player in the country, in my opinion, so let's go with UConn all the way.
Okay. Notre Dame versus TCU.
I think Notre Dame got this. I think their starting 5 is just insane, well-oiled machine. I think Hannah Hidalgo is like one of the best players in the country. Olivia Miles has just been amazing this season. I have them taking it. I don't think TCU is that great. So yeah, I think Notre Dame's got this one in the bag.
I would agree. I don't think Haley Van Lith has enough, and with that TCU roster, to kind of get over the hump here.
And finally, a Southern battle, Texas versus Tennessee.
I'm pretty sure, for this one I have Texas winning. I'm pretty sure Texas beat Tennessee every time they played them during SEC play. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they won every time. I think if this Texas team gets Madison Booker in a rhythm, I mean, it's lights out from there. So I have Texas winning this.
Texas is has the leading record in SEC conference play, while Tennessee is about 500. So let's roll with Texas for sure.
And going back to the men's tournament, we didn't do this, but we did for women's. We know what's the Sweet 16 going to be the best match of Sweet 16. So piggybacking on the men's a bit, what do you think is going to be the best match, Sweet 16 match of the men's tournament?
I feel like it could be that Texas Tech Arkansas game. I feel like just with how Arkansas is playing right now, I think that could be a good head-to-head matchup.
I got Auburn and Michigan. I think Michigan's going to bring the fire, and I think they're really going to put Auburn to the test and kind of maybe put them on the brinks of elimination.
I would go with Michigan-Auburn too. I feel like, despite Auburn, the way they're playing, they kind of, slowed down a bit. Their momentum slowed down a bit towards the postseason. And, Michigan, I feel like if they can find their moments, they can pull off an upset. And, well, folks, that is the end of our March Madness edition of CoogsTalk. Hopefully we'll be able to see the rest of all the games if you aren't at work, which is, a bummer. But, you could probably sneak in around a few games while you're at work, unless your boss doesn't sue you. So, good luck with that. But the tournaments are going good so far. Let's keep the action going. I'm your host, Sean Paul, here with
Andrew
and Elisha.
And we'll see you next time on CoogsTalk. And remember, whose house?
Cougs House.